Nobody thought 50 Cent would actually do it, but he just did. After weeks of callouts, cryptic posts, and relentless trolling, 50 finally dropped his diss track aimed squarely at Kendrick Lamar. And the result? Absolute chaos. The internet erupted overnight, with fans screaming that this might be the hardest diss of 50's career. Twitter timelines froze, TikTok feeds flooded, and YouTube reactors were losing their minds. The track laced with venom, history, and brutal honesty. Fans saying Kendrick might finally have met his match. From the opening bars to the final punchline, 50 left no stone unturned. He didn't just come for Kendrick's music, he attacked his legacy. His silence, even his status as the GOAT. And the world can't stop talking about it. Has 50 Cent truly destroyed Kendrick Lamar? Or is this just the opening act of a war that's about to explode? Let's dive in. The drop came without warning. No promo campaign, no teaser clips, not even a late-night Instagram live. 1 minute. The internet was buzzing about 50 Cent's cryptic, "Watch this post." And the next, Spotify and Apple Music lit up with a brand new single. The title, Final Chapter. The cover art alone sent fans into meltdown. A chessboard flipped on its side, pieces scattered everywhere, with a king toppled in the center. It was symbolic, it was cocky, and it was unmistakably a direct shot at Kendrick Lamar, who had been represented as the quiet chess master during their escalating feud. When fans pressed play, the energy shifted. From the first bar, it was clear 50 wasn't here to play. He came loaded with venom, swagger. And that signature Queen's bravado that made him famous. Pulitzer plaques don't make you a king. I fed the whole culture, you a seasonal fling. Talk about silence, but silence is weak. I built an empire while you hide and critique. The crowd online froze. Twitter exploded with the first reactions. Oh my God, 50 actually cooked Kendrick. This is the 50 Cent of 2003. Straight, savage Kendrick. Better drop something soon, 'cause Fifth came swinging. But that was just the beginning. The beat, grimy, heavy. Reminiscent of the early G-Unit era, carried an aggression that hip-hop had been missing for years. Fans described it as old-school 50 with modern-day venom. In the second verse, 50 took it further, drawing blood with personal jabs. You claim to be timeless. I call it a myth. One verse a decade. I'm stacking up hits. Compton respect you, but Queens made the rules. I turned rap into war. You just play for the schools. The internet went crazy. TikTokers clipped those lines and slapped them over old footage of 50 walking through New York in bulletproof vests. Memes flooded in, 50 back on his bully mode. Even veteran rappers jumped into the chaos. Fat Joe posted, "This is Fifth at his best. Y'all forgot how dangerous he really is?" Busta Rhymes commented with fire emojis under 50's IG post. While Ja Rule surprisingly subtweeted. Funny how history repeats. Itself, fans immediately speculated that Ja was enjoying seeing 50 reignite old-school beef energy. But what really stunned people was the third verse where 50 went after Kendrick's status as the lyrical GOAT. They crown you the poet, the savior, the voice. But truth is, the culture ain't given no choice. You vanish for years, then pop out with praise. I've been feeding the streets for over 2 decades. That verse hit hard. Critics who had dismissed 50 as past his prime suddenly had to admit the man still knew how to craft bars that shook the room. Within 2 hours, Final Chapter shot to the top of Apple Music's rap charts. Spotify reported over 10 million streams by morning. YouTube's official upload hit 5 million views in just 6 hours. The fans were stunned. Did 50 Cent just end Kendrick in one track? I wasn't ready for this level of disrespect. This is Ja Rule 2.0. But this time, it's Kendrick. Even mainstream outlets jumped in. TMZ splashed the headline. 50 Cent fires direct shots at Kendrick Lamar. Rolling Stone ran a think piece. Final Chapter, is this the hardest diss of 50's career? The internet wasn't just reacting, it was divided. Kendrick's loyal fans clapped back, arguing that 50's bars, while aggressive, didn't carry the depth or weight of Kendrick's words. One viral tweet read, "Kendrick writes symphonies. 50 writes threats. There's levels." But 50's supporters hit harder. Another viral post said, "Don't get it twisted. Kendrick, lyrical, yes. But 50 built his empire on destroying people. Don't underestimate the villain." Meanwhile, speculation about Kendrick's silence reached new heights. Would he respond with a full track? Would he stay above the beef, letting his fans fight the battle for him? Or would he drop something so lethal it would bury 50 once and for all? Adding fuel to the fire, DJ Academics posted a live reaction to Final Chapter. Screaming into the mic, he said, "Yo, Fifth is back on his savage energy. Kendrick gotta respond. This is not optional." Joe Budon, on the other hand, laughed during his podcast. "This is why Fifth is the best villain ever. He don't care. He'll go after anyone, anytime. Make it hurt." But the biggest twist came when Eminem liked a tweet that quoted one of 50's most savage lines. Fans went nuts, interpreting it as M taking 50's side. Suddenly, people began imagining, what if 50's diss war dragged Eminem into the fight? By the end of the first day, the narrative was clear. 50 Cent had officially re-entered the rap battlefield, and whether fans loved it or hated it, everyone agreed. He came swinging with a ferocity no one had expected. But this was just round one, and the world was holding its breath for Kendrick's answer. The world barely had time to process before the shockwaves of 50 Cent's Final Chapter spread like wildfire. It wasn't just fans debating anymore, it was the entire music industry. Celebrities and even political commentators weighing in. The diss had turned into something bigger than just music. It became the cultural moment. Twitter timelines looked like a war zone. On one side were 50's loyalists, who hailed Final Chapter as a return to his ruthless, unfiltered dominance. On the other, Kendrick's defenders, who argued that while 50's bars were stinging, they lacked the layered complexity that made Kendrick the GOAT. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. 50 gave us haymakers. Kendrick gives us strategy. Which one wins? Depends what you value in hip-hop, but beyond the fans. The celebrity reactions were explosive. LeBron James, known for blasting Kendrick's DAMN during warm-ups, posted a cryptic Instagram story, "Respect legends, but this new joint?" Whew, the internet immediately debated. Was he siding with 50 or just acknowledging the track's impact? Snoop Dogg went live, laughing hysterically. "See? This what Fifth do? He stir the pot and the whole world lose its mind." He didn't pick a side, but his tone was clear. He loved the chaos. Then came the unexpected Diddy. Still licking wounds from his own public controversies, tweeted, "Hip-hop need this energy." Shout out to both. Fans dragged him immediately, spamming replies with, "Not your fight, brother." But the most shocking celebrity involvement came from Eminem. He didn't post a video, didn't drop a bar, but fans noticed he liked a tweet that read, "50 Cent back on his bully energy. Compton ain't ready." That single like turned into a headline within hours. Meanwhile, Kendrick's silence was louder than any diss track. His social media accounts remained dark. No posts, no stories, no cryptic emojis. But insiders whispered a different story. At Rap Insider Buzz, tweeted, "Word from the studio is Kendrick already has 2 tracks recorded in response. Engineers saying it's scary." Another leak suggested that Kendrick had reached out to Alchemist and Hit-Boy for beats, signaling he was preparing something cinematic. Not just a quick clapback. Fans latched onto one rumored title, Eulogy. Screenshots circulated of a supposed TDE email leak referencing the track. Real or fake, it didn't matter. The internet believed Kendrick was cooking something deadly, and the memes kept the fire burning. 50 Cent photoshopped as Thanos snapping his fingers, while Kendrick fades away. Kendrick calmly writing bars at a desk with a caption, "Don't wake the dragon." 50 grinning in power as QAnon with the words, "Final chapter means the end." TikTok stitched videos of 50's diss with footage of Kendrick's most iconic verses, sparking debates about who truly won. One video captioned, "When a bully meets a prophet," racked up over 10 million views overnight. Meanwhile, RADIO shows went nuclear dot on The Breakfast Club. Charlemagne Thaw God said, "Listen, Fifth did what he does best. He shook the table. But this ain't Ja Rule. This is Kendrick Lamar. If Kendrick responds, Fifth might have bit off more than he can chew." DJ Envy disagreed. "Nah, Charlemagne, the culture don't care about Pulitzer bars. They want that raw energy. That's why Fifth's track hitting. And Joe Budon's podcast. Pure chaos." Joe leaned back laughing. "Man, I love this. Fifth just woke up hip-hop. Drake versus Kendrick was chess. This is a street fight." But the internet wasn't just debating bars. They were pulling receipts. Fans dug up old footage of Kendrick calling 50 a legend in past interviews, sparking discussions about whether this beef was truly personal or just 50 stirring chaos for relevance. Others argued 50 had been quietly stewing for years. Watching Kendrick's rise overshadow his legacy, the pressure on Kendrick reached boiling point. Fans flooded his label Top Dog Entertainment's Twitter mentions, spamming, "Drop it now." Rumors even spread that Kendrick's team was considering a surprise midnight release to catch 50 off guard, just like he had done. Meanwhile, 50 basked in the chaos. He posted a clip of Final Chapter playing in the background while he sat in his Rolls Royce, grinning at the camera with no caption. The video pulled 5 million views in under 24 hours. He also uploaded a meme himself, a chessboard with the caption, "Game over." Fans roasted him in the comments with Kendrick emojis. But 50 loved it, feeding on the attention, stoking the fire. And then came the wildest rumor yet. Insiders claimed that 50 had reached out to none other than Dr. Dre to executive produce a possible follow-up diss track. The thought of Dre, the man who helped launch both their careers, being pulled into the middle of this war had fans going, "It's insane." As one fan wrote, "If Dre picks a side, hip-hop history changes forever." By the end of week 1, the narrative was no longer about whether 50's diss was good or not. It was about what Kendrick would do next. Would he stay silent and let fans defend his legacy? Would he drop eulogy and finish 50 once and for all? Or would this spark the most unexpected generational war in hip-hop since Nas versus Jay-Z? As one viral tweet put it, Drake versus Kendrick was legendary. But 50 versus Kendrick. This is gladiator combat. Nobody's walking away clean. And the world knew one thing. The next move wasn't just about music. It was about survival. By the third day after Final Chapter dropped, the silence from Kendrick Lamar wasn't just suspenseful, it was unbearable. Fans were restless, journalists were impatient, and hip-hop media outlets treated every tiny movement from Kendrick's camp like breaking news. On Twitter, users spammed Kendrick's old interviews with clips where he praised 50 as a legend. The narrative split two ways. Some said Kendrick was showing respect by staying silent, while others claimed he was just waiting for the right moment to end this saga once and for all. But then came the first crack in the silence. A clip surfaced of Top Dog Entertainment president Punch on Instagram Live, where a fan asked about 50's diss. He smirked and replied, "Don't worry about Dot, y'all know he don't play with words. Timing is everything." That single sentence sent the internet into meltdown. Fans immediately interpreted it as confirmation that Kendrick was in the lab, sharpening his pen. Speculation intensified when Kendrick was spotted leaving the Los Angeles recording studio late at night. Paparazzi photos showed him with headphones slung around his neck, stone-faced, refusing to answer questions from the swarm of cameras. TMZ's headline the next morning read, "Kendrick in the studio after 50 Cent diss response coming." Then the fake leaks started hitting the internet. The first was a 45-second snippet uploaded to SoundCloud under the title Eulogy Snippet. The audio quality was rough, but the voice sounded eerily like Kendrick. Queens made a hustler. Compton birthed kings. Noise fades quick, but truth always rings. You clown for attention. I write for the ages. Your book closed early, mine still turning pages. Fans lost their minds. Within hours, the clip went viral on Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit. People debated endlessly. Was this real? Some swore it had to be, pointing to Kendrick's cadence and delivery. Others dismissed it as another AI fake. But either way, the snippet was enough to keep the tension boiling. Another leak appeared days later, this time on YouTube. The video claimed to be an exclusive insider recording of Kendrick rehearsing a new diss. In reality, it was AI generated again, but that didn't matter. The comment section filled with people declaring even fake Kendrick is scarier than real 50. Meanwhile, 50 Cent reveled in the chaos. He posted a video laughing into the camera while holding a bottle of champagne. His caption, "Y'all praying for it to save the day. Don't hold your breath." The video racked up millions of views and tens of thousands of comments, mostly filled with Kendrick's fans roasting him with crown emojis and chess piece GIFs. But behind the trolling, industry insiders whispered that 50 was nervous. According to an anonymous source quoted by Hot New Hip Hop, Fifth knows Kendrick isn't meek or ya. He knows if Dot responds, T could be career-defining. That's why he's doubling down with trolling. He's buying time. At the same time, fans noticed that Kendrick had quietly updated his Spotify artist profile picture, a simple black background with a single white crown in the center. It wasn't announced, it wasn't explained. But fans took it as a subliminal shot at 50. Screenshots flooded Twitter with captions like, "A king is coming." Meanwhile, podcasts and live streams kept the war alive. DJ Academic screamed during one of his lives, "Brew, if Kendrick really dropped something called Eulogy, that's not just a diss. That's a burial." Joe Budden countered on his podcast, "Nah, y'all need to calm down. Kendrick too smart to let 50 drag him into a mud fight. If he responds, it'll be precise, but don't expect 50-level trolling. Expect poetry with venom." Fans split into factions. Team 50 doubled down with hashtags like hashtag Final Chapter 1 and hashtag 50 Forever, while Kendrick's loyalists fired back with hashtag Crown Checkmate and hashtag Wait On... Celebrities fueled the frenzy. Tooj Cole liked a tweet that read, "Silence from Kendrick is more dangerous than noise." Meanwhile, the game's still harboring bad blood toward. 50 posted a photo of himself in the studio captioned, "Compton always wins." Fans speculated he was hinting at a possible Kendrick collab diss. Even non-rap celebrities chimed in. Jamie Foxx tweeted, "Hip-hop about to witness a history lesson. Buckle up." The post got over 300K likes in 24 hours. But the wildest twist came from a leaked email that allegedly showed a major streaming service preparing a playlist titled Kendrick vs. 50, The War. Though it wasn't confirmed, screenshots circulated widely, with fans joking that even Spotify was preparing for doomsday. Meanwhile, live shows added fuel to the fire. During a recent stop on his GNX tour, Kendrick performed The Heart Part 5. He didn't mention 50 by name, but fans claimed he emphasized certain lines with more venom than usual, especially, "I am. All of us." The crowd erupted, chanting ... as if it were a battle cry. The narrative had shifted. At first, it was about whether 50's D's was good enough to land. Now, it was about survival. Fans weren't asking if Kendrick would respond, they were demanding when. And through all of it, one chilling reality sank in. If Kendrick truly dropped Eulogy or any response at all, it wouldn't just end the debate. It might end 50's ability to ever troll the culture seriously again, the internet's. Favorite phrase summed it up perfectly. When Kendrick responds, it's not war, it's extinction. The silence finally broke. After days of fake leaks, speculation, and relentless pressure from fans and media alike, Kendrick Lamar made his move. And, as expected, he didn't just release a track, he orchestrated a moment. It was midnight in Los Angeles when TDE's official channels lit up with a simple announcement. Eulogy out now. No promo. No trailer. No hype campaign. Just 2 words and a link. Within minutes, Spotify crashed under the demand. Twitter froze under the hashtag eulogy. And TikTok exploded with live reactions. From the very first bar, Kendrick's voice was calm but venomous, surgical but heavy. The villain loud. But his kingdom's gone. You fed off the weak. But I write for the strong. You call it a chapter, I call it a joke. Your pen ran dry. My words still provoke. The internet went into instant hysteria. Fans tweeted, "This isn't a diss. This is a burial." Others spammed chessboard emojis, declaring Kendrick had just turned 50's final chapter into an epilogue. But the second verse, that's where Kendrick twisted the knife. That's where Kendrick twisted the knife. You survived off beef, but who really won? Ja faded, Ross thrived, but your story's done. Power on TV, but powerless here. I silenced the noise. The culture is clear. Fans screamed that Kendrick had effectively dismantled 50's legacy in a handful of bars. Memes flooded Twitter. Images of 50 as a TV remote. Captions like "Only power he got left." YouTube reactors lost their minds. One shouted, "This is Kendrick's ether moment. 50 cannot come back from this." Another simply stared at the camera in silence for a full minute before whispering, "He just ended him." But Kendrick wasn't finished. The third verse hit even harder. This time going after 50's reputation as hip-hop's bully. You clown for the crowd, but the joke's on you. Real kings don't flex. They let legacy prove. 2 decades of noise. But no soul in the sound. You shook up the charts. I shook up the ground. The internet collapsed. TikTokers immediately clipped those lines and paired them with footage of Kendrick receiving his Pulitzer, captioning it "Bars versus Bulletproof Vests." Twitter trended with hashtag Pulitzer pen, hashtag eulogy, and hashtag 50berry. Even mainstream news outlets weighed in. CNN ran with the headline, "Kendrick Lamar strikes back. Hip-hop war escalates." Rolling Stone called Eulogy a masterclass in precision, restraint, and lethal lyricism. Meanwhile, celebrities lined up with their takes. LeBron James posted himself vibing to the track, captioning, "Man. Different." The game went live on Instagram, grinning ear to ear. Compton always wins. Fifth poked the wrong bear. And J. Cole, staying as cryptic as ever, tweeted, "The pen always wins." But what shocked fans the most wasn't Kendrick's bars. It was the ending. The final 20 seconds of Eulogy contained no lyrics. Just silence broken by the faint sound of a chess piece tipping over. Then Kendrick's voice echoed one last time. Checkmate. The symbolism was devastating. The callback to 50's chessboard cover art for Final Chapter felt like Kendrick had turned 50's own imagery against him. Fans called it the most disrespectful outro in diss history. Within 12 hours, Eulogy shattered streaming records, hitting 40 million plays on Spotify alone and trending #1 worldwide on YouTube. TikTok flooded with breakdowns, memes, and celebratory edits. One viral clip simply read, "We just witnessed history." But while fans celebrated Kendrick's victory, 50 wasn't backing down. Hours after Eulogy dropped, he posted a black and white video on Instagram of himself in the studio. No words, just him nodding to a beat with the caption, "Round 2 loading." The internet lost it. Was 50 really planning to go toe-to-toe with Kendrick? Could he survive another round? Or was this just trolling to keep himself in the spotlight? Joe Budden speculated on his podcast. Listen, Fifth ain't scared. He thrives in this chaos. He might not out-rap Kendrick, but don't underestimate his ability to make this war entertaining. DJ Academics, however, wasn't convinced. Kendrick just gave him a lyrical nuke. If Fifth responds, it better be bigger or it's over. This is not Ja Rule Part 2. This is way bigger. Meanwhile, rumors swirled. One alleged leak claimed 50 was working on a track titled No Funeral. Another rumor suggested Eminem might step in to back his longtime friend. Fans debated endlessly. If Eminem joined the fight, would that tilt the scales? Or would it only escalate into a generational war no one could stop? Even Kendrick's camp stayed vague. Punch tweeted a chess piece emoji hours after the release, fueling speculation that Kendrick was prepared for multiple rounds if 50 dared to strike back by the end of the week. The narrative was clear. Kendrick had landed a devastating blow, but 50 wasn't out of the fight. His villain energy, his refusal to bow, and his relentless trolling meant the war was still alive. As one viral tweet put it, "This ain't over. This is hip-hop Armageddon." And the question hung heavy in the air. Will 50 Cent actually fire back with round 2? Or has Kendrick truly buried him with eulogy? The world held its breath. And now, hip-hop is standing on the edge of chaos. Kendrick Lamar's eulogy didn't just respond, it dismantled, humiliated, and it left fans screaming that the war was already over. The bars were lethal, the symbolism was perfect, and the outro, that chilling checkmate, felt like the end of the game. But then, just when the culture thought it was finished, 50 Cent reappeared in the shadows, teasing round to loading. So what happens now? Will 50 actually step back into the arena with another diss, doubling down on his villain energy? Will Kendrick stay calm, ready with another nuke if needed? Or will someone else, maybe even Eminem, get pulled into this generational war? One thing's for sure. Hip-hop hasn't seen a battlefield like this in decades. Stay locked in, because the next move could change everything.